As you can, Ms. Chappelle.
And I'm starting the recording too. Okay,
Thank
go ahead.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So, one of the topics, I'm not very knowledgeable about consulting services, and our expert course focused more on products. So some of the questions I have may not apply, so feel free to correct me. But when it comes to the differences in legal systems in exporting your services, does it pose any challenges?
No, that's where we'll probably need, I'm saying no, but I want to correct that. That's something where we would have to start looking at that. And also let me make a correction and make sure that we're all on the same page. We're not a consulting company. We're a sourcing company. Two different things. Two different things. Consultants don't do work. And what I mean by don't do work, they don't actually do the physical work. We do. Management companies do the physical work, meaning that the people outsource the services to us, their functions to us, and we actually manage their system, their process, whatever that may be. But yeah, consultants, that's the difference between a consultant and the management. Yeah. Because we used to be consultants, we advising all day long. Yep, we can provide you with a report and that's it. But we never touch the actual, as consultants, we didn't touch the actual services ourselves. We didn't take it on and do the work. But in our role now, we do.
Mm-hmm.
So management services or sourcing.
So,
would be a good example.
yeah. Mm-hmm. So in sourcing, are there any contracts?
Yes, have to have a lot of contracts. So I did have a good friend of mine is an attorney. I do have a couple of other attorneys that I do know. But when it comes down to international, I don't have the attorney on the international side, but I do have an attorney that I know on the international, I mean, not attorney, but tax person on the international side. But yeah, attorney wise, that would be a resource that we are going to have to get.
Okay. I don't think do custom requirements apply? No, right?
I'm sorry, once again?
I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that custom requirements apply.
So tell me
When
a little bit about customer requirements to share a little bit more about that.
Well, in our exporting course, we learned of certain requirements required when importing to a country, but I imagine for a service, there's nothing like to take through customs. So
Oh,
I don't know if you.
customs. No,
Yes.
nope. We bypass all that good stuff. So we don't have a product. Yep, you're right. We don't have that overhead.
You mentioned IT, so when it comes to protecting intellectual property, is that a
Yeah,
concern?
absolutely. That's why we went with Zoho products because they already have the compliance. They have a slew of, and that's even in our contracts. They have a slew of certifications on the compliance side. The only thing they don't have yet is US, but they have the ones that that's standard for Europe, which mans everything else outside of US. But they are in the process of working on the one in US because they have a headquarter right here in Dallas, actually. I mean, not in Dallas, but in Austin.
Yes. So when we learned about protecting intellectual property, we kind of learned that intellectual property kind of applies to the laws of each country. So you mentioned Europe. Would that concern like the European Union, right?
Yeah, it's called the GD something compliance, and that it is the governing regulation for pretty much Europe, the Asian sector. I'm not quite sure on if Africa is a part of that group, but that is, it's out to my knowledge. That is the certificate. When I was reading it the last time, that was because I was trying to understand our regulations, because of course you need to know that. But the this particular certification, it shows that the company has the security that is recognized by these continents, countries in these continents. And I think that one is for a lot of different continents, countries in various continents. So I have to look it up again. But I just actually posted something about that the other day, congratulating them about their certificate. They are HIPAA also, which HIPAA is not for us, but they do have a HIPAA compliance.
Mm-hmm. When it comes to the topic of US compliance, would an export license be needed?
That would be something that I would need to find out from you guys. I don't think so, but because if you're talking about a license, like for example, my international tax person, that person would need a license, right? Because there's tax laws that she has to abide by to make sure that she's advising people from other countries who are doing business with the US, the accurate information. So I would imagine like someone like her, an attorney or somebody like that may need that, but for us, no. The certifications alone should be sufficient, I would imagine.
So one of the things we learned in our export course is the specially designated nationals and blocked persons list, acronym SDN. I don't know if you've ever come up with your experience, a concern not to do business with certain people.
Yep. Yes. As I shared earlier.
Tell us more about that.
I'm sorry.
No, could you elaborate?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's what I was sharing early on. It was very important for me to do business with people who are ethical. So there's a reason why I selected the organizations have to be what we call social enterprises. They have to have that model. Because I know then they're at a standard of ethics that may not necessarily be there otherwise. So yeah, I don't do business with people who are not a social enterprise. Now they don't have to have the certification from the B Corp, I don't, and I don't plan to. I do business with the B Corp. I actually am a part of a networking company that a group that we're all kind of connected. And but yeah, so I don't, they don't have to be a B Corp, but at the same time, they have to have the principles and operate accordingly to what a social enterprise organization looks like. And there's ways to detect that. I look at their financials, I look at where they're giving, I look at, how they operate. I can tell them the conversation in the first, what we call exploration conversation, if the person is ethical and, they're trying to cut corners somewhere. And yeah. So yeah, just that's the big thing for me. That's the people that I don't do business with. I don't do business with people who can't afford us, because I'm not going to have a conversation about why our prices are the amount that it is. Either you see the value or you don't. We have people who are doctors on our team. Most of us we're over 50% masters, and most in with that 50%, most of us are ABDs, if not the doctors. So I really have a problem with someone telling me, or questioning me about my prices. And we're all over 20 something years of experience. So that's a definite deal breaker. Immediately, I will get off the phone. I'm not going to do it. But yeah, so that's why we set the standard at, they have to be scaling, and they're at least 250. We like to help people, and that's where our nonprofit comes in. But at the same time, and we are big about helping organizations authentically, but at the same time, they have to be scaling. They gotta be scaling. Yeah.
Regarding the importing countries compliance, you mentioned tax. Are there any other license requirements?
I don't think there are any others, not on our staff. You know, the biggest thing is the certification. So for me, like Zoho, I went through their administrative certifications, the development. We've been working on, and we have teams of people who are developers and stuff. So those kind of certifications on the IT side would be essential, but not licenses. I don't see that, and that may be a short sight on my side. That may be something where I need you guys' help, or I'm not sure, but yeah, that may be something I'm short-sighted on.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's all you could. I think that's all I have. I will pass it on to Maddie to ask you the rest of our questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. And thank you guys for hanging in there. I know my responses are very thorough. I do.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Madeline. I'll be asking you a little bit about transportation and finance,
Okay.
but I'll try and hit just the main points because I know you have a something else. I think you said it was you had a written
A grant.
a grant. Yeah, writing
Yeah,
grants.
yeah.
Okay. So first I want to ask about how you get your services to the destination country. So I know you talked a little bit about low hanging fruit
Yes.
and that you currently have it in Ghana, South Africa, the Cab Islands. How do you know when the countries are low hanging fruit? And how did you get your representatives into those countries?
Okay, so very good question.
Thank you.
There were low-hanging fruit because first of all, again, my area of expertise is organizational development. So I'm always looking at the business canvas, right?
Mhm.
And I look at partnerships. That's my first thing because I'm a strong believer in leveraging. Our company is not very big. When you look at us online, you'll see my staff, my immediate staff is very small, but it's the partnerships that we have that makes the difference. They're the ones who will help us do the work and produce, right? So the first thing, my strategy in the beginning is to look at the partnerships. Well, who can I create a partnership with to become what we call gateway partners, where we refer people to each other. Then I have a partnership with people who are organizations, and this is organization, I'm saying people, but organizations where they provide a portion of a service that we don't. So subcontracting ability. Or vice versa. We provide them with a service that they don't have. And together, you know, we make a very robust, a comprehensive plan or package for, you know, a service that can be sold. So those are our two primary things. So when I look at those two, I look at for the low hanging fruit first. So there's the owner of the company that's in Ghana. He and I did business together because he has dual citizenship with U.S. in Florida and Ghana. And we met when he was in Florida, and I helped him with relaunch his roofing company when he was living there. So when he moved to Ghana, which we knew there was a couple of us in that network that were moving to Ghana. So he was just like happened to be the second person. The other person moved to Ghana, but she's done a lot of work throughout Africa. So she's another resource we can use in South Africa. She has a lot of companies she works with in South Africa. So these are people, because I already have a track record with them and I already know them and I already trust, and we trust each other, they're considered low-hanging fruit. So these are people that they're the first people that I'll target and say, okay, so this is my business concept, or they'll come to me and say, this is the business concept, let's do this together. You bring this over to Ghana and I'll bring that over to the US, that kind of kind of thing.
I see.
So that's our low-hanging fruit is I look for those people that I've already worked with. We already have established relationships and we move forward. Now, for those who I started relationships with later, for example, Cleveland, that's Culture AI in Cayman Islands. The two services that I did for him, he was actually a referral with from a company that I'm working with right now. He heard my presentation doing a proposal to, of course, get the business with her. And he was like, oh my God, I need your services. I need your services.
Yeah.
The partner. I was thinking he was calling me for something else. And then here it is. He's like, no, I want you to partner with me. So it's kind of what happened there. And yeah, we tried it out with one particular project, and we've been joined at the hip ever since. So there are other projects that we're pursuing down there. So now we're up to at least 2 that has been completed, and there are others that we're pursuing as we're looking at this exporting opportunity. Because again, he has dual citizenship as well. He has citizenship in Cayman Islands as well as, I think, Maryland. Okay, so these are people primarily they have roots in the U.S., but they just happen to have moved to other countries and just kind of have that land there. So that it kind of helps me to understand the culture, and before we jumped into these other countries, know the landscape. So we have people there who are who know the landscape. My significant other is a Nigerian. So, and I'm very interested in Nigerian culture. And he owns a lot of property there. So we have, and not only that, but I have other business partners who we are very interested in Nigeria. So we got a lot of connections in Nigeria. Kenya, believe it or not, I started off with Kenya with my college professor. He worked, one of my college professors in my master's program, he, prior to teaching, he was in the parliament there. So that was kind of my first start, and really understanding Kenya and the landscape of Kenya. And then of course we have some resources over there through my partnerships who have direct connections that, again, they know the landscape and they understand the culture, because some of the things that we're slowly moving in some areas because our goal is to build buy-in from some of the people first, and then key people, decision makers, because we know with a lot of the African countries, the processes are very slow, very, very slow, very slow. And so you have to have buy-in by certain people to make the process flow, and then flow a little quicker, so that's where we are now, is getting those buy-ins. That's the second phase for us. So we have the right partnerships, but now it's the buy-in for with those particular groups. And we know that some of the things that we are proposing are a little bit disruptive, maybe perceived as disruptive a little bit of some cultural things. So we're trying to find ways where we can find commonalities, because it will, at the end of the day, it will be something to me that will create a great win-win for US as well as their countries in Africa, as opposed to just going in their country and just saying, okay, hire us. So we're looking at it from a win-win perspective so that we can get the buy-in.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, and Cayman Islands is kind of the same way. It's really, and it's always, just like even here, it's who kind of thing. It's there in those other countries too. It's just those relationships need to be developed a certain way. Yeah.
I see. And in general, can you run me through the timeline of like how long it takes to export your service? For example, like how long does it take to write the grant? How long does it take to do anything in this field? But like, or is it based on each case? Is
It
it
is
a
case, yeah.
case by
Case by
case?
case, and it's about
Okay, okay.
organization by, yeah.
Oh,
Because
okay, I
it
see.
depends on organization. So I'll give you a good example of Cayman Islands. So the
Okay.
university, oh my God, that took like 6 months.
Oh.
I kid you not. I mean, we thought it would never happen because the buy-in again, because Cleveland is working for that university, and
Mhm.
he had to fight to show them, okay, this system, if you
Mhm.
implement the system alone will help streamline your processes and make your life great and all this other stuff. And they're like, "Man, we're good with what we got, we don't want to invest in that." And so we
Mhm.
had to literally build demo after demo to show them that it would work. And not only that, but some of it was our upfront. We had to use our own resources in the very
Mhm.
beginning. And by him working at the university, he was able to kind of use his own, resources to kind of work through certain things until he got the buy-in from the university person. So now he has the buy-in. So yeah.
I see.
So now we're moving forward with a lot of the different things, but that took I will say it's like 6 months to 8, almost a whole year for just to complete one project. So that's just an idea. And the other one was a company. So with that one, that's a lot faster because it's a company, no bureaucracy, not a lot of people up the chain that you have to talk to and develop those relationships. It's just like the founder and, the people, the decision makers, or just not as much hierarchy.
I see.
Yeah.
And I remember you said earlier about kind of how you check the credit worthiness of of your customers, like you by the standards of ethics, who are practice social enterprise,
Yeah.
and the employee staff of 10 to 20. Can you tell me a little bit about your financing arrangements? Like, do you provide letter of credits if just in case if they fall through or anything like that? Or is it just based on like you have that ethical understanding that you both can rely on each other?
Yeah, that's the thing. Business is a risk, right? That's the whole thing about business. It is a risk. And the reason why I set the standard that I have right now is because I do have some of my old clients who um uh once we finish the contract, I'm not sure if I would want to renew it again. Primarily because of the challenges they're having with just paying on time. So yes, that is a reality. Right now I'm going through a restructuring of my finances where we have to take out a loan, business loan, to ensure we have working capital to make sure that just in case we have those situations where people don't pay us, we still pay our people. Because again, at the end of the day, I'm going to pay my people.
Yeah.
I'm going to pay the people. If somebody defaults, whether they default or not, I got to pay my staff, right? It's the integrity piece, right? So what we want to do is, so that's where we're at right now, is we're in the process of getting a loan or a line of credit to help us to make sure if we do have those challenges that we run across any of those financial things where people default, we can write it off as bad debt and then keep it moving. Now, of course, the goal is to leverage those partnerships that's overseas to help vet the organization. So that's why those partnerships are so important, is to minimize the risk as much as possible. But of course, such as life, you may have that risk, it's inevitable, somebody may default one day. I haven't knocked on wood, I haven't had it yet, but doesn't mean it's not coming. So I'm preparing my organization for it now.
Of course. Um, I completely understand. And we have our last question, which is kind of talking about long-term goals and your market expansion plans. So I know you said earlier you were hoping to expand into the UK, into Europe, and Italy, I believe.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
in terms of services, are there any additional services that you're considering of adding? I know you dropped one in the past. Are you looking to drop any other services
Oh no,
like grant
no.
writing?
You're right, Madeline. But grant writing seems to be our bread and butter. So I gotta hang on. I gotta hang
Yeah.
on, man, and just spread me through it. Just spread me through it.
Push through it. Yeah.
We're gonna press through. But let me our services right now are very extensive. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna just show you our website, right? So
Mhm.
what we did is particularly because we do government contracting, we put our generic capability statement.
Mhm.
So with our sourcing, all of these services that you see here will remain. We may add something later, but for right now, this is it. Because for us, we utilize we don't hire staff at the moment because we're keeping ourselves lean. So what we do is we partner with companies, small micro companies that
Mhm.
offer these services. So although we have the capability to do all three, right? Me myself personally have the capability of all three. That's why I'm able to manage all three. But the thing is capacity wise, we understand that as we get more and more clients, we need to be able to manage those contracts, those projects, right? Especially since we're dealing with year-long stuff, right? And now one of the things that we're looking at is a 3-year contract. But like under the HR, under each of these areas, the HR area, we have 3 contracts with 3 MOUs with 3 micro companies that have their own staff. So for example, I have someone who contacted me recently about the LMS. Now, I'm in the middle of writing a grant. So how am I'm going to be, build the LMS? I can do it, but of course I'm one person, can't do that. So I have other instructional designers and curriculum developers who are a partner with our company. So there are 3 different companies. So immediately when she said that, do you have anyone in your ecosystem that can handle this? Oh yeah, sure. Introduced them to each other yesterday. I said, hey, this is where we are, blah, 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 blah. This is our profit margin for us, how we roll, as far as of course, they'll subcontract with us, but they're going to scope it while I'm working on this grant, right? Yeah, so we push and keep them busy also as we are because they don't have the capacity right now to not leave a job or to work their businesses on their own. So that's just an example that this HR, this person needed LMS built, and I contacted one of my partners to do it, right? On the IT side, I have 2 companies that I work with out of India, and they largely do a lot of our workflows and the automations for a lot of our software, right? We also have a company that does a lot of our website, the web development, AI. And so all of these people, as soon as I get a project, people come to us and, I'm out there, talking to people to, sell our products, our services. When we're out there, those individuals will be the people that I will contact to say, okay, I need you guys to do these things. So they work hand in hand with us as if they're a part of our staff. They're not a part of our staff, but they work with us as if they are. So we have 3 small micro companies for each section. So for all the services that we provide, we'll probably keep those. I don't see
Okay.
letting go of anything because we have the capacity to actually roll out various roll out various contracts, multiple contracts at the same time because of those partnerships. But yeah, the same thing with the business development. We have a grant writer, another grant writer who already pretty much wrote the, like, for example, just with this project that I'm on right now, I'm just coming in and weaving different things and evaluating, making sure the grant is sound before I press the button and send it off. But we have grant writers and reviewers and graphic designers and all that to make that process work well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
I
those
see.
services will stay. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I know it's
I see.
that was a long bit. Did that? I just
No, you're fine. You're fine. Thank you so much. I think that was all of our questions actually. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for talking to us and giving us your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you guys for helping us because with all that we've done, we do need someone to walk us through this process as best we can and create that plan. So I do appreciate you guys for offering to help us.
Yes, yes, of course. Also in our class, I was wondering, it would be extremely helpful if you could provide a statement or maybe like a summary that shows your cost or revenue,
Sure.
and expenses, if that's okay.
Yeah. That spreadsheet
Okay.
that I just gave you, that I just showed you guys, I can send that.
Thank you
It
so
shows the
much.
COGS. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank
we
you.
really appreciate the opportunity that you provide us, and we're going to do the best to represent you, basically.
All right. Well, I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, it definitely was a pleasure meeting each and every one of you guys.
Thank you. We
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
All
Have a
right.
good day.
All right. And I'll send it. Do you want me to send it to you, Ivan?